Shalom, all praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone, who told me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy, to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of both forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom is scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, beginning with the 144,000 prophets, and Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Ratazah. This lesson is edifying and informative. Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. In the news from the Sputnik, U.S. to conduct hypersonic missile tests with Australia in 2024. The word hypersonic means exceed sound. Hyper means to exceed, and sonic means sound. And so the word hypersonic means to exceed sound or exceeding sound. And so the U.S. to conduct hypersonic missile tests, missiles that exceed sound, with Australia in 2024. The U.S. Defense Department plans to carry out joint hypersonic missile tests with the Australian military in 2024. Under Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, Hadid Shudia said, "We're already in the process of working very closely with them, the Australian Defense Department, to figure out to who do we integrate some of our hypersonic experimentations in Australia." Shayu was quoted as saying by the Defense News website on Sunday. She added that the countries had intensified their partnership in hypersonic technologies over the past year, and the tests are to be conducted next year. A hypersonic is a type of vehicle that can move and maneuver at speeds of Mach 5 or beyond. Technology is being developed as part of the second stage of cooperation in terms of the AUKUS or AUKUS partnership between Australia, the United States, and the United Kingdom. The second phase of collaboration includes quantum computing, autonomy, and electronic warfare research. The news about hypersonic experiments came after, in March, the U.S. Armed Forces admitted, and I was going to make mention of this earlier, nonetheless, admitted that a hypersonic weapon test failed, the website wrote. The countries announced the new Trilateral Defense Partnership, AUKUS, in September 2021. The first initiative announced under the AUKUS Defense Pact was the development of nuclear-powered submarine technology for the Australian Navy, prompting the Australian government to cancel its then estimated $66 billion diesel-electric submarine contract with France's naval group. Under AUKUS, the United States plans to sell between 3 to 5 Virginian-class submarines to Australia as an interim capacity in the early 2030s, and it will be way before that. Pardon me, because these nations are preparing for war. In their preparation, they will be beating their plowshares into swords and their pruner hooks into spears. That is to say that they will be taking their economic wealth and using them towards the research, development, enhancements, and modifications of weapons of mass destruction, and particularly for ICBM nuclear missiles, including hypersonic nuclear warheads. Because we are in the season of war. Hence the reason why we are seeing and hearing of wars and rumors of wars, but the end is not yet. Because the mark of the beast must first be introduced and subsequently mandated across the globe. Okay? So these nations are ramping up their production and partnerships for the purpose of testing out nuclear vehicles and missiles and whatnot for the preparation of war. And what war? According to Revelation chapter 11 verse 14, the third was woe. That cometh quickly. Okay, one that will be fought with burning and fuel of fire, according to Isaiah chapter 9 verse 5. In other news from the BBC, Essequibo, Venezuelans back claim to Guyana-controlled oil region, and brothers have done lessons on this, but this is fairly recent. This happened yesterday, Sunday, and it continues to read: Venezuelans who turned out to vote in a referendum on the status of a disputed oil-rich territory long controlled by Guyana have overwhelmingly backed Venezuela's territory oil claim. And so Venezuela has succeeded in a referendum to annex Essequibo from Guyana. I am personally from Guyana. I was born and raised there, and I migrated here to the States 13 years ago to do what I'm doing now. Because as it is written, man's goings are of the Lord. The Lord had set things up for his purposes. And I thank Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai that the Lord has called me to do this work, because this work is all that matters. Okay? In doing this work and giving diligence, we make our calling and election sure, respectively, for us brothers that are and have been doing this work, beginning with our elder apostles, bishop elders, and elder brothers on down. Okay, and as I said earlier, I'm originally from Guyana. As I was born and raised there, I was born and raised in Region 3, Essequibo Island, West Damawara. And these are interesting developments that the Lord has been stirring up between the tribe of Asher and predominantly the tribe of Benjamin, because you do have a sprinkle of Judah and Levi in Guyana. However, for the very most part, Guyana is inhabited by the tribe of Benjamin, besides the heathens, the Elamites. And you have prophets, brothers down there of Great Millstone, that have been prophesying to the tribe of Benjamin down there in Guyana. Judah and Levi, for the ones of them that are down there. Okay? But they refuse to take heed. They harden their hearts, harden their necks. And now the Lord is getting ready to bring great judgment, great death upon the rebellious ones of them. Now it states more than 95% approved establishing a new Venezuelan state in a territory known as Essequibo, officials said. Guyana and British Guyana before it have administered Essequibo for over a century, because within Guyana you have the Essequibo Islands, you have Demerara, and you have the Berbice regions. In fact, those are the three main rivers of the country, with the Essequibo being the widest, the Demerara being the deepest, and the Berbice being, if I'm not mistaken, the shortest from according to my memory, because it's been a very, very long time, a decade and 3 years. It says the referendum has ratcheted up tensions between the two neighbors. The critics of the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, say he called the non-binding referendum to wipe up nationalist favor and distract from calls for free and fair elections to be held. President Maduro, who has been in power since 2013, had urged people to turn out en masse and vote 5 times yes to the 5 questions his government had posted on the status of Essequibo. The 61,600 square mile region makes up 2/3 of the total, of the land currently controlled by Guyana. And as you brothers and sisters can see, the contested region of Essequibo between Guyana and Venezuela on the map. So, if Venezuela succeeds in annexing Essequibo from Guyana, you can see what part of Guyana will be left. Just a small part. But remember, Guyana was once a British colony, and with the most recent discovery of more oil, which is said to be worth more than the reserves of the Saudis in the trillions, Britain and the US will definitely be extremely vested and defensive against this, because during the times of war, oil is essential. Okay, instead of actually taking this oil and sharing it between themselves, they they war after it. They war because of it. But in the end, ultimately, it's all the will of the Lord. Okay, because right now Venezuela is still experiencing hyperinflation, and if they succeed in this, not only will they become extremely one of the richest countries overnight, but they'll be able to get their country out of hyperinflation to some degree, great degree. In fact, it says Venezuela, has long maintained that a decision taken in 1899 by an international arbitral tribunal to await it awarded to Britain, the colonial power which at the time ruled over Guyana, wasn't fair. The matter is currently before the International Court of Justice, although Venezuela has disputed the International Court's authority to rule on the Essequibo dispute. In the referendum, the Venezuelan government asked the voters to back its stance in the dispute. The most controversial question was the fifth, which asked Venezuelans if they agreed with the creation of the Guyana Essequibo state and its incorporation into the map of Venezuela, or simply Venezuelan territory. Electoral officials said 95.9% of voters cast a yes vote to that question. Guyana has denounced the proposal as an attempt at annexation, and President Irfani Ali Fakin Kuliman has accused his Venezuelan counterpart. And I'm gonna say this, man, you Elamites over there that think that you are above Benjamin and you run things, you may be in a certain level of authority over the tribes and whatnot, but guess what? In the kingdom, you're gonna get a foot up your ass, man. You fucking Elamites. You gonna get a foot, and your women gonna be concubines. Your daughters, you're gonna all be concubines, and you're gonna get a mighty iron foot up your fucking ass. Excuse my French. For all them years of proud, pride and rebellion. Because, yeah, man, you Elamites, you got it coming. I just had to say that. I just had to say that, man. Raw and skinny. Raw and skinny. Okay, it says, President Maduro hailed the result as an overwhelming victory. We have taken the first step, because you Elamites, you came over there as indentured servants. You weren't being treated the same way as the tribe of Benjamin and Judah that was there in Levi during the sugar plantations. You was getting paid for picking the rice and all that, and you act as if you run that whole country. Get the fuck out of here, man. The fuck out of here. It says, we have taken the first steps of a new historical stage in the struggle for what belongs to us, to recover what the liberators left us, he said. The overwhelming support shown by voters have been widely expected, as Venezuela's claim of sovereignty over Essequibo has very broad support in the country. This is reflected in the fact that there was no campaign for a no vote. What analysts were keen to see was how many people would follow the government's call to turn out. Elvis Oro, so if I pronounce his name correctly, if I didn't, forgive me, it says the head of the National Electoral Council and a close ally of President Maduro, said that 10.5 million votes had been cast, something he described as historic in the country of 20.7 million eligible voters. What Mr. Moroso did not say was how many voters took part in the referendum. A detailed opposition politicians seized on. Look, it's a long article. I mean, pretty much we're at the end of it, but for time's sake, I'll conclude here, and I'll leave the link in the description box of this lesson, Lord's willing. And Albaratazar, it has been edifying and informative. But matter of fact, let me just read this small portion. The referendum came at a time of heightened tension between Guyana and Venezuela after the 2015 discovery of oil in the waters of Essequibo's coast by U.S. oil giant ExxonMobil. Tensions increased further in September this year when Guyana held an auction at which oil companies bid for exploration license in Essequibo waters. Guyanese citizens formed human chains on Sunday to show their support for Essequibo remaining under the control of their government. Guyana's president reassured them in an address broadcast on Facebook, saying that there is nothing to fear and that his government would defend the country's borders. The International Court of Justice has warned Venezuela not to take any action that may alter the status quo in the Essequibo. So with that, I say shalom to the elect. This has been another in the news. Lord's willing, it has been edifying and informative. Shalom.